Hi, how are you?
Hi, we talking on the phone too?
Oh, Frank DePaul, nice to meet you. Come on in. Hi, thanks for coming in. Welcome to America's Mortgage Lender. First, I'm going to start out by explaining the three sort of regulatory bodies of how mortgages work. There's Fannie, Freddie, which are also known as conventional loans, and then there's FHA and VA. VA are loans for veterans, which are government loans. We do all of those, and depending on what you qualify for and what the best product is for you, we'll fit you into one of those products. They're all mostly similar, but there are some slight differences, so we'll go through that as we speak.
I wanted to know if I was required to put a certain amount down. Do I have to put 20% down? Can I put less than that?
Good question. So everybody thinks they always have to put 20% down, and I hear from a lot of people they're waiting to save the 20%. And the answer is you do not have to put 20% down. The way it works is FHA has as little as 3.5% down. VA, if you're a veteran, are you a veteran?
No.
Just so you know, VA loans are actually 0% down for veterans, 100% financing. And the Fannie and Freddie loans, they actually just came out recently with a product that allows you to put as little as 3% down. So you could put as little as $9,000 down on a $300,000 purchase.
So if I put 3% down or less than 20%, would I pay mortgage insurance monthly, or how would that work?
Yes and no. Let's start with the easy one. With FHA, you always have mortgage insurance. There's no way to get rid of it. With the Fannie Freddie conventional loans, traditional mortgage insurance works really one of three ways. You could have the traditional monthly mortgage insurance, or there is even actually something called a mortgage insurance buyout, which allows you to pay a one-time fee at closing, say $5,000 or $6,000, and then you have no mortgage insurance on a monthly level. And there's also something called a split premium, where you could pay half up front, and then it's pretty much half monthly. So it depends on credit score, income level, and loan size, and then we can calculate and figure out what the best scenario is for you from a mortgage insurance perspective.
And what type of documentation would I need for you to know what I qualify for?
Traditionally, what we ask for is W-2 for 2 years, 2 years tax returns, 2 months bank statements, all pages, showing where the down payment money is coming from. You also can get a gift from mom and dad or uncle or sister and brother on especially FHA loans, and actually Fannie and Freddie now allow the gift as well. So if you didn't have your own down payment money, as long as the donor shows that they have the money and they're giving you a gift, you can get a gift. But we just basically have to look at 2-year history of income. If you don't have a 2-year history of income, were you in school before, or why weren't you working? There's things called job gaps. I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios that we run into. But very important is you have to currently be working, and your employment in the future has to be 100%, meaning your employer has to say that your job is going to continue.
And how would you determine what rate I would qualify for?
Good question. What we do is we take your gross monthly income and we take a specific number for Fannie and Freddie, for example. It's, say, 45%. So all your debt appearing on your credit report, including your mortgage, your taxes, and your homeowner's insurance, can be 45% of your gross monthly income. So just for round number purposes, if you make $10,000 a month, you could have $4,500 a month in all debt. Now, when I say debt, your credit cards, if you owe $5,000 on them, it's your monthly payment associated with the credit cards, not the actual credit card balance. So that $5,000 card might have a $150 payment. That's what's calculated into your DTI. By looking at your W-2s, your pay stubs, and your tax returns, I can very quickly tell you what you qualify for.
Okay. And what about like a seller credit or something if they want to help with my closing costs?
Oh, you've been doing some research on the internet, I see, huh?
Yes.
All right, yeah, you've done your homework. So closing costs are basically broken down into 2 sections. One is the hardcore dollars that it costs you. That includes your attorney fee, our bank fee, which is one of the lowest in the industry, title insurance fee, document recording fee, appraisal fee, survey if you get one, and an inspection fee. Those are the things that cost you money that you don't get back. That's typically $3,000 to $4,000, maybe $5,000, depending on the size of the purchase in that transaction. Then there's what they call prepaids and escrows. Prepaids is you prepay the interest on the loan in the month that you close. So if you close the loan on November 15th, you have 15 days interest that you pay at that closing. Then there's your escrows, which means they take 4 to 5 months of your taxes and homeowner insurance money, and they put it in an account with the lender, us, and then we use that to pay your quarterly taxes. So when your loan gets serviced, that money's already there to pay your quarterly taxes. So all all in all, a good sort of benchmark is 2% of the purchase price. So if you're buying a home for 400, maybe it's about 8,000. New Jersey's a little more expensive because taxes are higher. You might be on a $400,000 purchase, more like 10,000. But keep in mind, 4 to 5,000 of that is actually the money it cost you, and the other 4 to 5,000 is your actual money that's going into a separate account.
So that my taxes and insurance and everything will be included in my payment?
Correct. Now, if you put 20% down on the loan, you could do what they call waive escrow, and that means you could pay your own taxes. But since you're a first-time home buyer, I would suggest putting it all in one so that you know when you make your monthly mortgage payment, the taxes, the homeowners, and the mortgage payment are taken care of all in one. This way you don't have to worry about it.
So when they talk about, like on TV and the commercials and stuff like that, where you see that they have low rates, no cost and stuff like that, that's something that, I mean, how do you rate with that? Is that the bigger banks or?
Great question. Let me explain the mortgage industry a little bit to you. There's mortgage bankers, there's mortgage brokers, and there's big banks, which we all know, Chase, Citi, Wells. Let's start with the brokers. The brokers do not underwrite, do not close in their own name, send the loan out, wait for it to be underwritten, and really don't control a lot of the process. Right? Then there's the big banks, which we all know, and you've seen some news lately about the big banks and sort of how they operate, and they're great. They're just bigger with more layers and more overhead. So everyone always thinks, well, maybe I should go to one of the big banks to get the best rate. Well, that's actually not the case because they have much more layers of overhead associated with their mortgage department. Then there's us. We are what they call mortgage bankers, which means we process, underwrite, close, post-close, and sell the loan after. Why is that important? Because not only do we do all of that, but we then guarantee that loan for 1 year. So if you miss any payments, I have to do what they call buy the loan back. As a result of the guarantee that I put on that loan, we give the best rates because I'm basically giving a complete product and note to the secondary market with a guarantee on it. So when it comes to rates, you never get a better rate than from us. And what we do is we monitor daily the bond market. Once you apply and sign your application, we figure out when the closing date is, and I subscribe to a few different services that show me the trends of the bond market, so we try to lock you at the best time. Rates right now are historically the lowest they've been, within a quarter or half a point, so you're going to get a wonderful rate. Rates right now are in the 3.875 to 4% range. That's typically like a 4.4% APR. You're going to get a very good rate. It's a good time historically for that.
And what about like the costs for the loan? How much would it cost me to do the loan?
Typically, closing costs are about 2 to 2.5% of the purchase price. In New Jersey, because some of the taxes are higher, it creeps up to about 2.5%. So, example, $400,000 purchase, closing costs would be $8,000 to $9,000. Now, when I say closing costs, let me break that down for you. There's your dollars out of pocket, the hard figure closing costs, which is attorney fee, bank fee, doc recording fee, title insurance fee, survey, inspection. All of that stuff costs you money. On a $400,000 purchase, that's about $4,000 to $5,000. Then there's your prepaid interest and your escrows. And what that is your prepaid interest is the interest that you pay till the end of the month. So if you close a loan on November 15, you have 15 days interest, and then that is included in what you owe at the closing. Then there's what they call escrows. And we typically take, not we, but the attorney or the title company takes 5 months taxes. So that could be $4,000. Now that's your money. That goes into a separate account to pay quarterly when the taxes are due, so that you have the benefit of just making one monthly payment, which includes your taxes, your homeowner's insurance, and your mortgage payment, and the taxes are paid for you. So once you get what they call the LE, which is the loan estimate, in our application documents, we can go through each line item and what it means and what it stands for, and it makes perfect sense once I do that when we look at the LE.
How long would it take to qualify?
Well, since you're a W-2 employee and you have a consistent work history, I'll have you in and out of here in 15 minutes or less. We pull your credit, we can look at your income. If you're self-employed and you have a job gap, a couple different scenarios that are a little more difficult, then it would take us a little time. The good news is, at America's Mortgage Lender, we have 3 full-time underwriters here with more than 20 years experience each. So if I don't know the answer, which I hope I usually do, I just bring it to the experts that we have here. That makes a huge difference because it's all about understanding not only what the borrower looks like from a qualification perspective, but it's also about knowing the ins and outs of the latest guidelines. The industry is a little tricky, and that's why we have, great minds at this company to help sort of identify some of those things.
All right, I'm sure I'll have some other questions. I'll be able to contact you after this.
Feel free to call me, email me, text me, and when you find a house you like, if you want me to run the payments for you, give me a buzz, or anybody on my team, and they'll tell you what the mortgage payment would be on that property, and then you're ready to rock and roll. So good luck with your home buying process. Very exciting.
Thank you very much.
Bye. We have a link at America's Mortgage Lender that allows the millennial generation or anyone to apply online. So simply go to my email, fdippold@amlgov.com, and your loan application goes right into our software, and you can get pre-approved and qualified very quickly. Mention this video and receive $500 off of closing costs.